Yesterday, the Minister for Finance was in Parliament to read in full detail what the government's intention is for the 2022 fiscal year. Part of what he read included a portion on energy, petroleum, and all the related issues. This morning, we have in studio a medical doctor, a politician, who's also the Member of Parliament for Mensha South, and he's the Honourable Member responsible for, Honourable Minister responsible for energy, the Honourable Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, popularly known as Napo. Good morning. How are you doing, sir?
Good morning, bro.
You look very well.
Thank God.
How's the energy ministry doing?
It's steady. Steady, growing. We are happy.
You're happy?
Comfortable.
Is Dumso back?
Is it back? Yourself, the question should be asked.
No, I'm asking you.
No, I'm asking you. You're a consumer. I'm a policy maker. Is Dumso back?
What feedback are you picking?
None. Actually, the feedback I'm picking is that when it's even raining, the lights are on.
Okay. So Dumso is not back?
It's never going to be back.
I see. Are we done with Dum CSA?
No, we are not.
We are not.
We are not.
So then there are a few bottlenecks here and there that you're trying to
Obviously, if I don't accept that, that's probably a biggest lie.
Okay.
Then we accept the fact that we need to still invest in our energy sector to be able to ensure that there's affordable, reliable electricity. Energy security is key, and one of them is electricity security or energy access. So government understands that it needs to put in an investment in the right places. Of course, governments have put in investments in the power generators. Government needs to put in the investors in the transmitters. Okay. And the local distribution companies for faults to be as minimal as possible, right? To prevent the occurrence of what you tried to describe it and equate it to doom. So,
not me.
Which is not
the Ghanaian public.
Which is
the
not.
Ghanaian public.
But let's be frank. Let's go back to 4 years, 2012, 2016, when every day in that 4 years there was electricity rationing. Okay. All over the country. No part of the country was left unscathed. And tell me, this last year, if we have seen that.
The lights keep going off sometimes.
Once or
twice.
You have to, where I live, my lights have gone off twice.
Okay.
But it's not doom.
It's not doom. Okay. So that's doom CSC.
Doom that got to 3 days off, 1 day on, and John Dramani Mahama can never be equated to when your lights go off once and it comes on. Even in your house, where meals are prepared, it's not always that you want what you get.
I see. Now, let's, we'll get into the budget shortly. Key concern, fallout from the COP26 meeting in Glasgow, the concerns about using more, energy that's not harming the environment. It looks like we're largely dependent on thermal energy. Is there a bigger plan for us to move away from it so we can have the solar and all of that so that we can save the environment because we are committed to it?
Let me put this on record so that we all get educated. Even before Paris Climate Change Accord was signed, Ghana, over 40% or 50% of our energy generation comes from clean, renewable energy. Okay. It was hydro. We still have nearly 40% of our electricity mix as hydro. Except to say that it didn't count towards Paris Climate Accord. It is going forward how much of your energy mix you're going to dedicate to clean, renewable energy. It is not that Ghana is a polluter. Not at all. Akosombo, Pong, Bui are the largest energy generating cells we have in the country. Okay. And so put that in perspective. But we still accept that we are a community of nations. Ghana is part of the community of nations. So Ghana also has some targets it must meet by 2030. And the targets are that, forgetting your historical, what you have, between that time and 2030, 10% of your energy mix should come from clean, reliable energy. Right. When we say clean, reliable energy, as of now, what do we mean?
Tell me.
You said solar.
Solar, right.
You said wind. Some will tell you wave.
Wave, right.
Some will tell you geothermal. Some will tell you nuclear. In fact, the cleanest of them all is nuclear.
What are we looking at?
When you talk about wind or solar or wind, they are very, very unreliable, right? So in as much as you are talking about base loads, energy that you need for industrialization, for work, you cannot rely on solar. You cannot rely on wind. If God doesn't, the wind doesn't blow well, what happens? And in fact, all these two are being affected by the climate change. So yes, we accept that we have to get in more renewable energy and clean energy system. But again, the second point I want to make is that Ghana, in Africa, as far as a nuclear, clean, reliable power is there, Ghana is not found wanting at all.
I see.
What do I say? In 2020, we went to Parliament, starting from policy, through regulation, to implementation. We went to Parliament to amend our Renewable Energy Act to ensure that all businesses, all homes can take advantage of renewable energy in their mix.
Okay. From
IOCs, pumping oil from the earth and the sea, to me and you in our houses. So government facilitated the agenda of renewable energy mix into the country. What do I mean? When you talk about solar, which everybody thinks that when you talk about renewable, let's go to solar first, right?
It's the most popular, if you will.
Most popular. Solar, we have two forms. The distributed energy that me and you can participate in, and the utility scale, which is the big generation. You know, Ghana is a rainforest country. We cannot afford to cut our forests for solar panels, because that in itself is one of the biggest agendas in the climate change conference. Reforestation, protecting the forests that you have, regrowing the ones that you have denuded. So let's look at it. So for where most of us can generate utility scale, being 100 megawatts, 200 megawatts, 300 megawatts, we have limited places. Because when you generate that huge scale, you have to be able to put it into the GRICO substations before it goes to ECG substations. Okay. Most of GRICO substations are in the south of Ghana, which is the forest belt. That is why in Ghana, it is our hydro generators that are on the forefront of solar generation on utility scale. So Bui Dam Authority has contracts or has an implementation plan of going as much as 650 megawatts. VRE is looking at this generation because they already have big substations in those places. So you can easily generate and connect it through those substations into the national transmission grid. So when somebody comes and says, oh, I want to do 50 megawatts, yes, where do you want to put it? Where you want to put it, so there should be a facility to take the power away from
receive it.
To receive it. So even in the north, that there's land available, in the transition zones that there's land available. Yes, the land may be available, but what about the transmission? So when government says it's investing in transmission, it's investing in 330 kV lines all the way to Burkina Faso. The ancillary facilities we get are GRICO substations here and there to improve power supply and power stability. So then we can then use those same facilities to attract the investment into solar on the utility scale. It's not as simple as we have the land we have. And that is why Ghana is probably the first country that have pioneered surface water body solar generation in Bui. And OVRA will take it on, Pong would come in, Opoku Dam that we are
What are the timelines?
Oh, it's already there.
Okay.
Bui Dam has already started. It's increasing it to 5 megawatts this year.
Okay.
So the proof of concept, we've gone past that. Now the investor who comes can invest in that.
Okay.
Right? And come to think of it, it's not only VRA or Bui Dam that has surface water or the lakes that can be used. All Ghana Water Company dams can be used. So when you go to Weja, look at the surface of water. What is it? The sun is just shining and evaporating the water, right? Imagine Ghana Water Company, an investor partner in Ghana Water Company, to put on the surface of the lake solar panels to also generate electricity. That is why me and you, on the same concept but on a smaller scale, we can all be individual generators of electricity. on your house or in your house. You can put solar panels on your rooftop.
Right.
And then it can provide you with all the energy needs you need. And then you don't need to store it, which makes it very, very expensive. But you can use a reverse meter to sell it directly to the local distribution company. So me and you, if we take up solar now, there's a legal regime, there's an implementation plan, there's a policy support to ensure that you can have what we call a net zero meter or a reverse meter or a smart meter in your house. That when you generate, you don't have to find the resources to buy battery storage. When you generate, you use. The ones that you don't use, you can put it back into the system for somebody else.
Somebody else who doesn't have to use. So like we all pool our resources together. I see.
Together.
Interesting.
But even in that, government has already taken the initiative to make it doable in the country. Now, PURC, the regulator of energy in the country, it's what about coming up with a tariff for reverse meters so that we can have a boom. And all the real estate agents who are building can all incorporate solar into their systems.
So do I get, for example, if I incorporate solar into my architecture privately and I generate power, I use what I can, and the rest goes into the system, do I get paid for it?
Yes, that's why the PRC come in with a reverse tariff.
Okay.
So if ECG, you use 1 kilowatt from ECG, and it costs 100 cedis. When you put 1 kilowatt in, it will be about 70 cedis.
Okay. Some rebates for me.
Yes, yours is lower because ECG or the local distribution company has already put in assets that needs to be accounted and serviced.
Have you heard that people are complaining about the price of fuel?
Yes.
You have?
Yes.
What do you say to that?
Yes, but it's a reflective thing all over the world. Reflective thing all over, because we import our fuel. We import our fuel. So if the import prices are high, definitely has to be translated.
But your exchange rate, your taxes, they all part of the mix in deciding
you've answered the question you asked.
What goes on at the pump.
You've answered the question you asked. We have cedis. Fuel is sold in dollars. So we have to mobilize the city to go and buy the fuel for you. Unfortunately for us, our Tamoyo refinery is not refining. So we import what we call white products or petroleum products.
Okay.
And so the person will have to mobilize the cities here to go to the bank, get the dollar to import the crude. So when the person brings it in, at least it must not sell at a loss. And the whole value chain, from the person who brings it to the port, to the person where you go and buy your fuel at the pump into your car, nobody in that chain link should lose in that value chain. So everybody at least must break even or make a profit. Or else you can go and cite a filling station. Nobody will go into any business to make a loss. You go into a business to either break even or make profits. So let's look at those who are bringing it in. They have to make their profits. The big bulk importers and distributors to the OMCs will have to make profits. The OMCs to the filling stations will have to make a profit. What government seeks to do and what governments have done is to regulate the profits that you can make out of that so that we are not shortchanged.
But not the taxes, not to look at the taxes.
Government also has a self-moderating...
Because the transport operators are on your neck. I'm sure you know.
I had a lovely meeting, yes.
Yesterday.
I had a lovely meeting sometime this year with some of the operators. At this time, I'm talking about those who even sell petrol themselves.
Okay.
Talking about some taxes and things. But there are three things on the fuel price.
Tell me.
There are levies, there are taxes, and there are margins. So we're going through, oh, you can cut this, you can cut this. Of course, when it is somebody else's profit or somebody else's money, you can cut. So we came to, why don't we cut marketers' margin? No, don't go there.
Can't touch it.
Don't touch it. So when they always say when the thing is not on your foot, it's always easy to give advice. So what government intends to do and what governments have done all these years, yes, it's true. Governments do take taxes and levies. I've put taxes on levies on these petrol prices. But I can tell you for a fact, when you go through all the levies and taxes that are put on petrol, it is only one that goes to the budget. Special petroleum tax. Each and every one is accounted for in one way or the other. See, we have road fund levy. It doesn't go to central government. It goes to improve the road situation for me and you to drive on. Energy fund levy. It doesn't go to central government in that sense. We need to improve transmission. We need to improve our pipelines. We need to make sure that everybody has electricity. Ghana is probably, bar South Africa, one of the countries with the highest level of energy access in Africa. Over 86%. Over 86%. Look at the special bus of Ghana. We've taken electricity to all nooks and crannies through self-help electricity projects.
But there's still
Most
communities in Ghana that
yes,
do not have electricity.
We have no qualms about that. That is why even if you look in the budget, it is talking about electricity access still. Because me and you have enjoyed it since we came to this earth. But there are people who are probably less than 200 kilometers from you who have never enjoyed electricity. So when you come into the budget, government talks about mini grids and off grids. So that when you go onto the Akosombo Lake, there are islands that don't have electricity. We benefit from the water that is around them, but they don't benefit. So we are putting mini grids, that is solar-backed mini grids and batteries, onto these communities. We hope to do about 10 this coming year. So we have not shied away from the fact that we want, in fact, in 2017, the State of the Nation address, the president said that by the end of his term, he wants to see Ghana with the universal access of electricity.
Right.
That definition is 90% access.
So you're sure that by 2024, when the campaigns hit the rounds, you can see.
I know where you are getting to.
No, I'm not getting anywhere. I'm not getting anywhere.
You have jumped this budget.
No. I will get into the budget.
But I can assure you,
because you're mentioning what the president said.
I can assure you that the technical work has been done. But to get us to 90%. As we speak, we are 86.23. What to get in the last mile is the most difficult one. Okay. We need to connect 2,401 communities. 2,401 communities to be able to achieve a 90% rate. And those communities include those we are doing what we call mini off-grids, putting electricity, solar-backed, battery-backed electricity on the island lakes, and also the hard-to-reach areas.
The MPA under you, one of the agencies under you, had written, a letter to the presidency. I'm sure you were in copy of the intention to scrape off some of the taxes for about 2 months for people to have a breathing space. It was approved by the presidency. We're told it's in Parliament now. What's the status?
Okay, one, the MPA is true is an agency under me. But there is a precedent that actually asked me that, what can we do about this escalating fuel prices? Okay. I said, yes, we can look at some of the levies and see how we can freeze some of the levies. So I discussed it with the chief executive of the MPA, Mustafa Hamid. His technical team sat down, and he wrote to me that, yes, Minister, we can freeze the petroleum price stabilization and recovery levy, because that is the intention. The recovery levy is for some fuels that we supply to industry, like residual fuel oil, high fuel oils, and others that are subsidized. So the importers make a loss, and the recovery levy is to top it up for them. So we are back in industry. And the stabilization levy was to ensure that when prices are fluctuating, government can intervene. Right. So that's what you're going to use. That's exactly what we did. So they wrote to us, and I wrote to, because it was in between cabinet, I wrote to His Excellency the Presidency for executive approval to direct the Ministry of Finance to halt, to zero the PSL. What then happened was that we either had to do it on the 15th of October or on the 1st of November. And since it was for 2 months so that we could review the impact, I opted for the 1st of November. And since the 1st of November, it has been in place.
Parliament approved that?
We have gone to Parliament to rechange it. But the law of fees and charges allows the Ministry of Finance to intervene, especially if it's not an increase and it's a decrease. Government is getting... But
you still have to go to Parliament.
Yes, so it's in Parliament. But already...
Has Parliament given you the blessing?
Already it's in place. I'll give an example. Some affects government revenue. So if I go to Parliament for a loan, Parliament says I go and contract the loan of $1 billion. And the cost of contracting the loan is 500 million cedis. And I go back to Parliament, say, oh, somebody has brought me $1 million. But the cost of contracting that loan is no longer 500 million cedis, but 100 million cedis. Parliament would not have to approve it before I can do it, because it has no cost to the
So let me understand you.
So it has been in place since 1st November.
But the fuel is still 6.90?
Yes, because that is not the only tax or levy on fuel.
Okay.
But that price
But Ghanaians were of the view that, well, the prices at the pumps will drop.
Oh, NPA can demonstrate to you that the prices are low. Where the price should have been, it is not.
I see. Let's get into
So if the price is, say, 6 cedis now, it should probably be at a 6 cedis 20. But because of the zero rating of this price stabilization recovery level, it has 6 cedis.
Let's get into the budget.
Yes.
What tax cuts did you give us, or did we not get any?
I think we got tax cuts. If government decides that the tax rate would move from 200 to 500,000 cedis on certain things, it's a tax cut. Even though he has not put 100 cedis. If he says that this e-levy, I am not going to tax it from everybody, but if you get more than over 100, it's another form of what we call a tax cut. So in the budget, your income tax rates and everything are all taxes. And when you zero rate things, they are also tax cuts for you, because you could have paid higher or not.
Interesting. Let's look at the other key points in the budget that you would want Ghanaians to know about. What will be your first pick?
Before the budget, all of you, the punters, the commentators, all you started lamenting. We don't want fuel price increases. You heard it? Even some drivers, truck owners, were envisaging that we should cut road tolls and put it on fuel. Because fuel, a lot more people use it, and it's a more like a better way of collecting their taxes.
It's an easier way.
And also an easier way. That is why, over the years, not a single government, at least from 1980, I can say, not a single government has come who has refused to collect taxes or levies one way or the other on fuel. Every government. In fact, in 2014, the government put on financial transactions 17.5% VAT.
Right. Which was later abolished.
Which this current government abolished. So every government has found a way of increasing the taxes. Why? Because the government felt at that time that 70.5% in his time, when we had to do so for 4 years, it was still doable for Ghanaians. When we had public sector freeze in employment, 70.5% was not thought to be hard.
What was the difference between public sector freeze and the payroll is full?
I'm coming.
Is it not the same thing?
I'm coming. I'll show you the difference. If for 4 years you refuse to employ, it's not the same as somebody who said it and in that same year had given a financial clearance to employ over 75,000 people.
But when there was a freeze, there were certain categories.
Zero. There were no new employment.
Within the health sector.
Let me tell you. Even within the health sector, why were there nurses on the streets when we came? Why were teachers on the streets when we came? When the freeze meant that there was not going to be any new recruitment. There were not going to be any new recruitments. And that's what we are talking about. As to people who have died and been replaced, it's not employment, is it? It's zero employment. 1 in, 1 out. You consider that as employment.
Is it not?
Tell me. If you do, then I'm very, very happy. Then our numbers are even better. If you are telling me that add 1 minus 1, add somebody because somebody is dead, and you still consider that as employment, then this government has done fantastic well since independence, I can tell you.
I see. So we digress. Let's get back into the energy issues. I'm interested to know. So you mentioned the first one.
Yes.
What other one is there? for you? I mean, your picks from what Mr. Foriata read. I know that you assisted them heavily to plan this, but then your picks. I want for us to expound this regarding
what is going to happen in job creation and entrepreneurship is revolutionary. I hear people go on there and talk about government is putting in 1 billion. The 1 billion is only the government side of the equation. The financial institutions have agreed to contribute 2 billion every year to that. The banks have decided that they are going to increase their lending to small, medium enterprises. 5 billion. So in the next 3 years, we're going to have 10 billion directed at entrepreneurship and job.
Is that going to be patient capital? Because
I haven't met non-patient capital.
If I'm a startup and I go to a commercial bank, I decide to get into agric and decide to cultivate oil palm, for example. It takes 36 months gestation period. The bank is on my neck after 6 months to come and pay back.
That's what I'm saying. You are translating commercial transactions to the youth startup program. That is not what it is envisaged.
Okay, so that's what I'm asking. Is it patient capital?
It is envisaged that this 10 billion CD that is going commitment to the private sector over the next 3 years, that's the commitment. So you have the Youth Start program that is being implemented by National Entrepreneurial Program and Ghana Enterprises Agency. Okay. Right?
And what do they do?
Yes. What do they do? They pick people who are interested in some sort of work. They give them training. They give them advice. They give them startup. And they give them maturing funds. Funds that you can use that you don't have to pay, like you just said. 48 hours credit. After 48 hours credit, it's 72 hours. 72 hours got on your head. That is not what we are saying here. We are saying that we see that for startup to maturity, there should be a support system for industry. Why am I saying that? Government has already introduced programs to show this. The One District, One Factory was not only targeted at new industry. They were targeted also as reviving old factories. So exactly. So government has in this ecosystem a whole gamut of financial incentives to support the startup to the maturity sector. Well, look, let me tell you another tax. This same budget talked about 45, 41 or so, 40 things that it has removed the benchmark discount price it gave. Right. And people don't understand it. The benchmark price is the price that the customs should use in assessing your levies and your taxes at the port. Government came and in support for import industry, saying 50% off. Government is now saying that my whole emphasis is to grow my economy, domesticate my economy, Ghana, better Ghana agenda, that I'm promoting local industry. We have one district factories all producing chickens and eggs in their millions. And you allow an importer also to bring chicken and eggs, which has been probably frozen and kept in the freezer for 10, 50 years. And I'm telling you as a fact, it's about 10, 50 years, to compete with your local industry. There's nothing wrong. Competition is good for everybody. But it also means you are servicing somebody's economy. So government is saying that pay the true cost of what you are bringing in. And I'm giving incentives for the Ghanaian farmer, the Ghanaian entrepreneur, the Ghanaian startup to also grow and become like you. Why would we go and do Vietnam perfume rice? When we have abundant land, we can harvest rice.
So I'm looking at the list of the benchmark values, and the first on the list is sugar. Now, if you, for example, take off the benchmark values of sugar, it means that sugar imported to this country may be very expensive.
The number one killer of most of us we don't do is probably sugar, oil, and salt.
But you cannot stop people.
So government has a public health duty.
You cannot stop people from eating what they want to eat. What's the alternative?
I'm not stopping you. How dare do I do that? It's choice. It's choice.
So allow them to make their choice.
So why do I put 150% tax on cigarette?
But you put a benchmark value
Why
on cigarette, you cut it.
Why do
cigarette is part of the list.
That's what I'm saying. Why do I do that? Because that, if it's come to personal, it's even more personal than anything. Why? It's my lifestyle that I do cigars. Why is government putting taxes on it? We live in a community. We are social beings. Smoking, my personal smoking, affects your health.
But right? sugar. If I eat sugar, how does it affect you? Is there passive smoking? There's passive smoking, but there's no passive sugar eating.
Okay, you are talking with a doctor. The amount of money government contributes to the national health care in treating diabetics, right, and kidney diseases is unbearable. When you go to Kolebu now, probably 13% of all inpatient admissions are probably kidney related. In fact, I can even go further down on it. Government will have to provide the resources for that. Right? Somebody eating salt, so what? But it will affect all of us. The taxes we collect, the levies we collect, would have to fund somebody's treatment for his...
Then we shouldn't have taken the benchmark values off. We should have put the benchmark values on them in the first place, don't you think?
You get a point. Government uses taxes in this administration of the economy. It's a fact. Okay. So at a particular time, you might introduce this tax for a purpose, like the COVID levy, right? You envisage that when we are done and dusted with COVID, the levy will go away. That is why at a particular time, a government could introduce 17.5% on financial transactions. And that government felt it was good, but has the nerve to criticize somebody who puts 1.75%. 100% less.
We'll come to that, but let's go back to the Ubank. Ubank was announced last year, with an intention to... Yes, it was announced last year by Mr. Kenneth in Parliament. As part of the Obatam Packers
But you see, the mistake in that is that the Bank of Ghana has regulations that prevents any entity, any enterprise, any institution from using the bank if it's not...
With the C, this one with the C.
Yes, still.
But the finance minister should have known then. He spoke in Parliament. I'm
saying that is why we call it U-Start and we are making it better. We are making it better.
But I'm saying that the finance minister yesterday reiterated that Youth Bank had metamorphosed into U-Start.
You know why? Now, I'm telling you the reason for the change of name.
But 1 year is gone. What have we done?
The finance minister can account and does account and regularly accounts for whatever money he's collected to Parliament.
Right. But I'm saying
so even in laying the budget, it laid other documents, petroleum funds management account, all statutory things he does.
Right.
So he just doesn't take money without accounting. We are not creating an enterprise.
I know that, but I'm saying that the essence of the Youth Bank, or now if you like the Youth Start, was to encourage young entrepreneurs to have access to capital to be able to survive and thrive and even employ more people. 1 year is gone because the fiscal year is ending. What have we done? Did we just change the name?
We are not just changing the name.
But what have we done?
Let me tell you. Look at Ghana Enterprises Agents.
Right.
And the number of people is supported in that 1 year that you are talking about. I was the Minister of Education. And I had lots of people wanting to go on the streets because they were teachers in private sector who wanted to benefit from government funds under the Ghana Enterprise Foundation. In fact, the Ghana Enterprise Foundation assisted hundreds of thousands of Ghanaians in support to just tidy themselves up at the peak of the COVID. You don't try and tell me that you don't know what happened in Ghana last year. When even government had to give free water and even a discounted electricity to Ghanaians.
Were they free?
Free water was given to every Ghanaian who had Ghana water and sewage.
Were they free? We're paying for it.
I'm telling you.
We're paying for it.
I'm telling you.
Ochema Boaji was here. He said, we're paying for it. Ponkuma was on Joy. He said, we're paying for it.
I'm telling you.
We're paying for it.
When COVID came, and most of your sisters and brothers could not get work, and those who were even employed were asked to stay home, and government gave the free water and electricity. The free water and electricity was to individuals. The payment we are paying is general. There are differences. That when government says 1%
is free.
I'm telling you the difference, the words. when you were supposed to pay for your water 500 cedis a month, the government said pay 0. Right. It affects you directly. It doesn't affect the whole community. Because even in that community, maybe not everybody had access to Ghana water. Right? Okay. Now government says that I put in all that money and we have to find the money back anyway over a longer period of time. Not as acutely as when you enjoyed it. But in this period of time, everybody who is going to be subjected to certain levies and taxes is going to pay. That 1% that COVID tax came, you know, it's not every Ghanaian who's going to pay.
But you see, when you make the argument that way, that, okay, because I'm connected to the grid, so I'm getting water, electricity for free, it affects me directly. The government also announced that we're going to have tankers and community water distribution.
Yes,
so
because those
literally you're touching everybody.
That is the government
So
who has the sensitive. I'm happy you use this word, touching everybody.
So if you're touching everybody, and now everybody is having to pay back, it's not free.
It's not everybody.
If you buy this bottle of water on credit and you drink it for free without expending money,
was the COVID levy on everybody?
Is it not?
It's not. So it's not everybody. It's not everybody.
It's for the tax-paying people. Of course, we're talking about widening the tax.
What did you just say? It's for who?
The tax-paying people.
How many Ghanaians are taxpayers?
You tell me.
1.something million. Are taxpayers. What's the population of the country? Over 30 million. So it's not everybody. So it settles
indirect
down.
Taxes. Indirect taxes.
Now you are shifting the goalposts.
I'm not shifting.
You are shifting the
I'm
goalposts.
shifting. So
you are shifting the goalposts.
Indirect taxes, for example.
I said, when you enjoyed the free water, it was directly to you.
Okay.
But when it was time to pay, government levied everybody who paid taxes.
Just like
I'm saying,
just like I'm
accept the fact.
Just like I'm not a subscriber of NHIS, but when I buy fuel or I buy from the supermarket, I'm charged NHIS levy and it goes for somebody else.
The importance of living in a community is that there are shared responsibilities.
Beautiful, but we pay for it.
Yeah, shared responsibilities.
But we pay.
And not everybody pays for everything.
I see.
Cocoa farmers in this country literally bankrolled the country for over 50 years. What were the benefits they got?
Fertilizers, scholarships for their children.
Scholarships for their children. Go and check how many cocoa farmers got scholarships.
Let's talk about the e-levy you mentioned a while ago. 1.75%. Is that not too much on the high side?
17.5% of financial transactions was not high. 1.75, 10% less. You describe it as high. I don't know what the range of high is. Give me your range and let's continue.
So look at this, for example. I work in a company that decides to pay my salary via Momo. I earn 900 cedis. It's paid into my bank account after deductions have been done. Gross, I get my net in my bank account, 900 cedis. I decided to pull the money from my bank account onto my Momo. E-transaction. Monies that I've paid taxes on already. I get in 1.75.
In what remittances? Right. The same person getting and transferring doesn't attract
No, I'm saying that I'm not transferring to another bank account within the same bank. I have my Momo here, but I have a bank app and I'm pulling the money onto this one. It's a transaction. It doesn't attract it.
You see,
it doesn't attract it. So let me
hold on. Let me admit something first. In this budget, what the Momo effects have been delineated for us. And also, the implementation is going to come with an education of what everything that it affects, because some, like less than 100 cities, it is not applicable. What about if I do 100 cities today, 8 a.m., and I do 100 cities, 10 p.m.? It is within the day, and it's going to be affected. So there's a lot of education that needs to go.
But the telcos are already doing the 100 cedi threshold.
The telco 100 cedi threshold is different from what Ghana government intends to do.
Okay.
The telcos collect from with both hands. Me, I don't know why government has allowed the telecos to do that, but anyway, that's for another day. Government is saying it's only the sender who is going to pay. Okay. And in the day, if you do up to 100 cedis, it's 0. So in a month, if you do 30 days in a month, if you do up to 3,000 cedis, it's 0. But if you go and do that 3,000 cedis in one day, to attract 1.75%.
And that's what
so
I'm
there's
saying.
a need for the tax agencies, which sometimes even me myself, I have to be educated, because when you say it's going to affect mobile money payments, it's going to affect bank transfers, it's going to affect merchant payments. That means point of sale services devices, and inward transmitted remittances is going to be charged. When I've looked at the frequently asked questions, they are talking about the inward remittances between yourself, within yourself, being exempt. So we have to tease some of those issues out before we start. Thankfully, we are not going to start today. So we have for the next 6 weeks to understand fully.
So we'll go to the Tema motorway. But for example, you send me, let's say you send me Momo. You send me Momo of 500 Ghana cedis. As soon as you send the money to me, you are paying 1.75. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm paying. Only me.
Now it hits my account. I decide also to give my nephew 100 Ghana cedis.
That's a different transaction.
I'm paying 1.75.
This is a different transaction.
He's also transmitting 1.75 on that same 500 Ghana cedis.
I'm just telling you something. It's not the same. It's the transaction.
Okay.
So you go and import something, they charge you VAT of 17.5%.
Right.
When you decide to sell it to a second person, you charge the person a tax rate of 17.5%. When the person decides to sell to another, till it gets to the final consumer who pays the 17.5%, every transaction will have the 17.5% on.
But that's too much.
But that is how VAT has operated since Kobe Prempeh. That's how VAT has operated. Look, let us not make... okay. What we have to understand is that how do we charge our taxes in this country?
Okay.
And I'm just proving to you that the way VAT operates is the same way the e-levy is going to operate. We are going to charge the e-levy not on persons but on transactions, with the exclusion that if the person is transmitting money between his own account in one account or the other bank.
I hear you. Let's go to the Tema motorway. Cookie is standing by, monitoring how the no road toll started today. Cookie, take it away.
Amane ya ne dia ono na ohwe ye so na mmom na nso wo ho asem ne nyira ne se me pese me nkanche na na se wo be pam tofu akura po a ye to ade wo mu ko se nka na be hye ye bo no nya abutani ye di bro nya ne wie ase na nya abutani ye di bro nya ne wie suma nkofo ba e be ka che se tonu onye ntwabiam ti ye to ade no se na be ba na pafrumu enu anaju later wa 12 o'clock yada yaba no paya police station nyina wa ha uguru wa yadu betum na me pese me kanche na na se ye wa nyina ya MPP fo ye yanfo na ya tu abama no nana ye yanfo na ya gina traffic mu to for the whole Ghana to traffic ye na ya campaign ye na ya tu abane ma no na na ma megum anim ase wa ndisi fu anim kopim se obeto amini MPP leader wa ha it is a bibinim po se na na suma na beka kire ye se me ba ebia ene efi ochade kwa na da se ye ntwato na perfume se na na ba se mo ma ye ntwato ha to nu so ye ntwa ka bia njina it mpesa me ka kire na na se wagu ye nim ase ento ombla na meka bibi kire ye na nambla na meka bibi kire ye
enti madam enti sanka nana anase aban emma will notice and anka ka kire o before anka no de anka obey okay
anka ya we ti se no ma kios bia won se e da se oba be buburu anka ya nso anyama mba ya kwagigi nkofo blodo obi bo front na maji ma won kwala atre omo papa ewuwe ya na me ton de show mo anka me minsi amako kuro ma kodo banti sana na be share ya boss me babu sum we wu a ye mpese ye be hu obi a anka ye nsia because ya kwagi blodo nsuo cars na de blaye eskafu na de nyama ne blaye na ye yafo ne ya ton ye
na we sure say nana e ka kire mu say ni say enti bia 3 days time and 1 week time me ma mu mbe ma anka mu complain say nana be ma komode mu
obe share ya bo say na otumi sha bo ma ya tu aba ya de ye ko tutu ma ne say date we aba say ne be to say na anka ye be da ye ho so asa ka nana twene ye di bro nya ne wi ansa ansana wa pamu ye ebi na makwaji obi bofro to gina ho me ni obi ohwe me ita ko ohwe me bo asa nka me ko dipa no wo se o chi bofro to ma me na me fa me gina
nyaboche enti no ba unko ye ya still a wo so ade na anka so yesi o kakra na wo konya o ya meraho
na na ma meraho anopa we mennu me hu posa me kwato abama MPP fo because tama na ma wo so no so obeye bibia osumaba se me mba se na we de mpafru ma otuo ba front ya sumi me kwaye de na matua ni raka na wo ba sha me bwanka meda me wo so enti na mbongu no ncheni endi blonya ni wie ni yantutu ya nyama ne yanko
enti bo float ya nke ne so ni nyina ye sen
mpa cha 2.5
250 Ghana and so we
50 Ghana enti ni aka no 25 ebi na wa ha no adeton wa ha na nye ya ble so efi kwa me nkroma ton na ya start to am to bo fruit
basa wonim se enye right se ekwan hu se wan kasa kwa life kwa is at risk
ni say sister wa driver for no mo de car ne ba no me pa cha mo ma me kasa me ni able me pesa me kan che na se adriver for na de car ne ba ha no o mu ni se ye du to o mu lo car ne ba fom sa accident be si o ye chi to na chi na ba hu se ka munumunu
Enra nyaboche enra na me free your friend is say ashaiman there wa ashaiman toll booth no ye the girl be obituary abo ho na bisa ne say ade na ye girl na yes onu so to bofro say na car abo no sane maniema we na aban epese ebo ho ban epese obo kran ho ban enti no car say embetwa lorry kwan mu enton ade wo ha enti question na me bisa ne say wonim say aha na enye market ana
me say aha enye market minim say aha ye fra ha heaven so person unko heavy and ebegina
ye free fa aha heaven why na kai
se ka bo wa na so odwene ye ho ka bo wa se wewu unko heaven
senti no se membegina ha no person onim se time ndu a obekọ heaven so person ba begina ha
madam mpacho ma me nkasa mani obere se na be she me bo ana osuma nkofo ba ha na obeka kire ye wo ha nyina ne se ene yawuda mayemba ha yemba and na ke betu ya nyama na se paki ya nyama nyina akọ na we no bibia ye te sa ba na ma wo sukra ha o mo be ye bibi o mo babo ya mane se e da se ye beba te se na ochro kiosk hu se obi a move ne kiosk na mo move na ye be famo mo no se na ka che se ne obeba to abepamu ya anka ye be ti ya wase ake ya beti ya wansa ka mo metu ye po ha sabika fra ye wo ye kro ma ka ye be ko.
Very agitated this morning. She's complaining about the fact that she had no prior notice or they had no prior notice. And that if they had gotten any notice of any sort, they wouldn't have even showed up here in this, they wouldn't have showed up here this morning. Patron, I was here for saying.
Pastor Fremenchi, you are. Mammy, the house woman, we are Gina and Tiasi. So I say in your market, and so do campaign. I say in your market, but I do campaign time and I do only say any page in a ha. Mammy, Nana do Gina do no way VA, no way VA. Yes, I'm going to campaign. I bring you have to touch my mammy. Ejuma ben no woman, with Yenim Sahanya market. Ejuma ben a woman. Ejuma ben a woman. Ejuma ben. Mammy Yakita Uncle, Yabako, and ye co school. And ye any nanny ye co school, and such any yan. I don't know, Tom. Me patch me any. Okay, to talk any meko. Me so any meko, they be all the chala requirement. Uncle, I was upon a boy home by. Nyankopon na boy ya won ban ni abrani nya Nyankopon ni mnemma wodie wo ma wodie wo wodie ni musa kan na be fa wo na aso ba se
na mini buffalo to na kasa no o se sanka ye ka kire mu ne se ebia se ni se ene besi anka ne nka mo ma ha kra e ampa nti wuso nka ho ma ha
mami ai mimi nim se bibi sanka mi ko ma ko fa nkosia 30
enti nka he fa na nka odi nkosia ne be ko
mami so mo share ya se dia da say Mamma, sika almost 1,000. No, can me the be business for. There be some akofan ko shia mini, akofan ko shia crate. E dia be si wa amenye de minim. Me ko fa ni bebre na ma turn nkakra nkakra. It is some so that say that to say. And I mean confess uncle see creating no. It's no so be shy or be catch so that say. Mama I say the be come here higher ho. What you say? Uncle ya higher won say ya be kasa kra ya nim say obi ankofa amfa ni sika ne ye de enkofa ahye ma me ya asefem. Okay, it is say anope when one kosuo e de aba nti na be si wonya market bia emfa kosuo ye enko fiti ha kwata ma eni fiti ha kwa ashan ma na nhada wa sakomo no soso ene wa ha say kona mu he enti fo kosuo ni mekoi e de kwa sakomo no de kwata ma na de kwa ashan ma na market wa wonya obi anto minia maame nkosuo no profit ahin na ewom meti he ya enu na me person me bisa I fan out me ba cho meti Spintex Road meti he ya he ya the context market an ke bi to me at all ma e ho no on cross kwan e maka e nkobo ne a wo betina nkomu ahwe kunu na ma me obi a customers wo be bia omo nkosiafo ho anya asam ketoa enu ti na wo de ba he ya yes what you say nkosiafo e wo ho no omo bro more than 5 and 6 enunti na mo ba ha say odo also be me den na woton anope den na ya we wa ha pacho me tomatoes chewing gum okay na your friend is mo krampo na mo de na e dangerous more no because mentos ni chewing gum ne aka ne de ya turn almost every minute enti won suro won kwa say e bia ha no ka betumi abawa na eba ne say na wo decide impo say mentos na opese woton opese ba e bibia bi na bi fufura me shona say SUT me economy ne mabra bona meye pacho utumi ko school kakra de oh me ko kakra me SS na unya juma enye unya juma enye bibia enye ntina o decide so beton mentors na ejuma betimi enye juma ye e bia salary ne de be ma no en me oba me rent me tua bills what you say e bia me ma me bi o te kwat nya 10 pesos me ko na wo ye e bia wo koye busu me ejuma 400 500 me pacho enso me what they make what you say but mentors no tom one day utimi ya be say oh one day there sometime market umpa day me get 300 cedis oh 300 cedis from mentors ne hacks now ton hanky nose mask me get 300 cedis market ne very good at me nya brosa nti no pay wo how pa ne say how ne say me how dey bebreu me how ne dos me how ne say akufado ade no any impromptu enu na 12 o'clock ne yete no nti enim so ma na koye nim kakra ansa na wa ye ne niema what ya ba na kase ni twa ne wo se enu na 12 o'clock na say na ote wa he wo se mete radio so me pa twan okay to aso enti no de o ya no ya nti ase se wo bi la na tuma tesi ade ne ye nkoye mi busa akufado de ne ye nkoye me makofa niema na nansa me kuta 1000 me de akofa niema sesi atwinga me nko me ko na me we twinga mo no enti aban me so na me baaye no enti opese ye nkoye dan sesi den na opese Akufado oye ma den pa na opese oye ma no pe go adwuma we dia e na ompa bibi ma yenya na campaign ni mu kurampo a ye campaign de din na ye no be se bobi kuro ma anye no na nche yemfa ye ni 20% no ye yemfa ye ho ma Akufado so but ye hustle hard so ma ye baby de gira ye nye sika no mo me se ho ma ye to butu we si wonye le na when ne ma authorization na when ne ka show say aha e okay say bra ne begina ha na na do ne ka sa na do on cash okay say ye den na wo begina ha me begina akona na do ne mfa ne nsi so sa nti usase adwuma ya che me wie so na me de ahia adwuma me de apon me ho a me gusu gina ha usua adwuma ukosua ade pam na nti ukosua etie ko bia shop sase amamo no kwade ne kura ukota ade a mechia bills mechia school fees sika be na me de beto a enu bia so de ya choponi me pa cha no na nchen enu achi na wo so wo bia to butu na tum wo say udi sika bi to fo so saba betew sa adwuma no opese wo kire sai ada ya tokas ya tokas me pa na sase wo je ho ya na me na be fufura me ko pe coins kakra be dia na me di 20% to phone so Akufado wa sa bete nya aboshama me in a day for the ne Thursday madam meni abro nya butrasem meni abre pa pati nya aboshama me ye for the ne say senka wo sa wo send momo e de ye ne ma ne ma phone so in a day ahina ya wo send oh sometimes met me answer ni
100 cities. Maybe I made the attire. What I say? Maybe I miss my target. Me near myself. Being told they will come to me. Send a phone. I cannot to the phone. No, they are tabbing me. Now you take 10 pesos. Was what? On person much less. You say empty for Muji. Tikaka Krabi was so. Now for the outside the tax account. But Nanado says, Siciano. So send this can and 100 Ghana. So on charge you. Always yes, any more than 100 cities in it. Say in a day, no sending more. I out send this and the same. Depending on Sunday, who just 50%.
That's my colleague Cookie T there with some traders. Obviously, they're not happy. Some hawkers are not so happy about it. What's your reaction?
I think it's Cookie T's birthday or something.
It's not his birthday.
She's having absolute fun.
She's working.
Okay, let's take it like that. There are certain things that I must say that the women have a point. I'll run away from that. Maybe on second thought, we should have given them time in education. Or even if you're not even going to educate them, we should have said that road tolls should have started from 1st January. In fact, the levies are starting from 1st January. There was no need to probably do it. But these are second thoughts.
But the finance minister yesterday said in Parliament that pending the approval, debate and approval of the budget statement, then it will kick in. Then the minister wrote
that's what I'm saying. That.
But there's an act dictating how road tolls should be administered in this country. There's an act. So
road tolls are part of road fund. So there's an act for road fund.
Right.
And road tolls go through fees and charges.
That's right.
Levy. Like I said, if it's to do with easing the burden, if today government comes and says, I'm not going to collect special petroleum tax on fuel, it is not something that Parliament can oppose it.
But you must go back to Parliament for
yes, they will go back.
So why didn't you do in this?
The minister has gone to Parliament.
In the proposal in Parliament, the road minister made a definite.
That is the proposal. Even the budget is a proposal.
Right, anyway, but the road minister made a definite, definite directive. He said the MTTD will have to be there to supervise the process.
That's what I'm saying. That on hindsight 2020, maybe, just maybe, even if we had said we were waiting for the budget to be passed, or we're going to say that it kicks on from 1st January, it may have been good. But some of the argument, me and you can never answer that. For the person who is causing an illegality, because we have introduced the term human sensitivities and things like that, even though he knows what he's doing is illegal, that is not the place to hawk. Once he's hawking, he thinks that he's a right to hawk, and you need to consult him. Yes, he needed to be consulted or to be informed and given time. So he might have a case, or she might have a case. That's not what I'm arguing.
What happens to
the thousands of drivers? The thousands of drivers who ply the motorway, who for inconvenience of traffic jam, pollution, road distraction, a levy that is becoming probably to all intents and purposes. We collect 78 million in a year. It's becoming a nuisance levy. Go to Kasua. The 1 hour, 2 hour you will spend in that traffic to get through the Kasua toll gate is probably not worth the city you are collecting. If productivity means anything in this country. So our tolls have not been efficiently collected, I tell you.
What happens to the toll booths? What happened to the toll booths?
We'll get
the structures.
We'll get to the toll booths. When you get to the Taba toll booth, motorway, you see about 8 or 9.
Right.
But I can tell you, in lots of parts or areas of this country, it is the same one way in, one way out. That is the toll booth. Go to Ashanti region Bravo toll booth. It's pathetic. You don't even have many toll booths.
There are spaces, but we don't use them.
They are not. The toll booth is in the middle of the road. It has not been expanded. You know when you get to booths, most of them they are expanded. You go to Kasua, they are expanded. In vast parts of this country, go to Eastern region, Ashanti region toll booth, near Joso, that area. You go, the traffic is so long, sometimes 3 miles. Why? Because the toll booth is in the middle of the road, like an island. And one person is putting his neck out of the left window, another is out of the right window, collecting it as the cars are going. So there's not even 10 booths available for the cars to go.
What happens to the toll booths? Do we demolish them?
Oh,
Because that's an
need,
investment.
Those that need demolishing will be demolished. Those that can provide extra services like temporary stops for easing of human nature functions would be done in those places.
You made a
and the workers there are going to be absorbed.
You said they're going to be reassigned. When and where?
The road minister will come out and show.
You made a commitment.
There are only 38 road tolls in this country.
Right.
38.
But
about less than 600 people.
But they work 3 shifts. You made a commitment to persons living with disability that you were going to give them the road tolls to manage. Their fate now hangs in a balance. What would they eat?
That's what I'm saying. You just said it. You answered your question in the first statement by saying they're going to be reassigned.
But reassigned when and where? That's the
point. I just admitted that the Minister for Roads already knows that there are about 600 people in all who are affected in the 38 toll booths. He is already given a way out how he's going to absorb them and pay them out of the road fund and things like that.
Interesting. Anyway, so we're wrapping up. The guys at Kwadaso are worried. They say
Kwadaso.
Yes. They say 2,000 meters have been damaged for more than 2 weeks now, and there's no respite that's coming to them. Are you aware, first of all? If you are, what help can they hope for?
Well, I'm not aware.
Okay.
Kwadaso is in the electricity distribution area of ECG. So that is their first point of call for ECG to provide the thing. But 2 things that we never said about this whole budget.
I hear you have an appointment, so that's why I'm rushing through.
This budget is the fact that we are even renegotiating power purchase agreements to give us cheaper, reliable power. We are redesignating power purchase agreements in local currency because putting the power purchase agreement in dollars affects the economy, because the Bank of Ghana transactions, you are not allowed or permitted to charge your prices in Ghana with dollars. We are rationalizing the excess capacity charges. We are doing away with it going forward, because we would only pay what we use so that we can expand electricity access and also make it more affordable. To the matter of meters, we have to change the whole concept of how we supply meters. Because the meter issue is not Kwadaso issue, it's the whole country issue. Because government can never find enough money to buy enough meters. We should allow private sector where they perform efficiently to do the job. My thought...
But we tried it with PDS.
PDS has got nothing to do with meters.
We tried giving a private
listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. Now, a lot of private sectors are involved in paying your electricity bills true or false. So when it goes off, your prepayment, you rush to the next vendor near you and pay for it. Right?
Right.
Okay. So we've taken out billing from our electricity. Actually, you pay before you use the electricity.
That's right.
Which is an improvement over credit meters. Okay. What about ECG having standardized meters? Me and you being able to sell those meters to people who need it.
It's a discussion I'm sure we can have.
Just a discussion. Yeah. So we need, what we are trying to do is to assure Ghanaians that for some of us, it's not pay that matters. Okay. It's rationalizing why we are paying. So I'm not going to say PRC should increase tariffs. PRC should demonstrate that the tariff regime that exists is efficient enough for the service that is being provided.
I thank you very much. I hear you have an appointment. Thank you very much for joining us, Honourable Member for Mensah South, and also medical doctor and politician. He is the Energy Minister for the Republic. Do you want to be president?
What does that mean?
Do you want to be president?
What does that mean?
Do you want to be president?
What does that mean? President of which
I saw in the Ashanti region.
President of which association?
Of the country.
Are we elected president of the Ashanti region?
Do you have plans? I saw in the Ashanti region your banners around the conference venue, Napo for vice president.
Do we elect vice president?
Do you want to be president?
Do we elect vice president?
The electors are watching.
The electors are watching. And let me point and say this. I am not part of any presidential bid.
Vice president?
I'm not part, because I have not seen anybody ever bid for vice president.
Okay.
Actually, you set a very bad example to sit on your TV and tell
would you be happy to partner Dr. Bawumia?
I'll be happy
if he wants to be president.
I'll be happy for the president of the country to give me any job that he thinks I'm competent.
Vice president inclusive?
I don't know.
Okay.
Because I'm not the one choosing. How can I say? All I have to do is to do my work well and demonstrate that.
But you're not sure if you want to be president or not.
I'm not sure who will be sure he wants to be president. It means you're going to kill or sell your mother to me.
No, you must have a focus and a vision.
A focus and a vision. That alone doesn't drive anything, because some of the most focused people are the Kaya with a vision. But I'm not sure that's what they want.
Some of your party folks believe you can be president. You should be president.
Thank God for that. That people
do you subscribe to their thinking?
I subscribe to hard work and smart working.
Which includes becoming president.
To increase the productivity and the efficiency of the work we do.
So you don't want to be president?
To be smart is good enough.